Module 6. Proteins, crucial components of all body tissues. Protein overview. Proteins are a large and complex group of molecules that are essential to the structure and function of all living organisms. Proteins are made up of long chains of amino acids that are linked together by peptide bonds. There are 20 different amino acids that can be combined in various ways to create different proteins, each with their own unique structure and function. Proteins can be classified into two main categories based on their importance to the human body: essential and non-essential proteins. Essential proteins are those that cannot be synthesized by the body and must be obtained through the diet. There are 9 essential amino acids that the body needs but cannot produce. These amino acids are required for the synthesis of many proteins in the body, and a deficiency in any of them can lead to a variety of health problems. Non-essential proteins, on the other hand, are those that the body can produce on its own. There are 11 non-essential amino acids that the body can synthesize. These amino acids can be synthesized from other amino acids or metabolic intermediates, and the body can produce them in sufficient quantities to meet its needs. The synthesis of proteins is a complex and highly regulated process that occurs in two main stages: transcription and translation. Transcription is the first stage of protein synthesis and takes place in the nucleus of eukaryotic cells. During transcription, the DNA sequence of a gene is used as a template to create a complementary RNA molecule called messenger RNA, mRNA. The second stage of protein synthesis is translation, which takes place in ribosomes. During translation, the ribosome reads the sequence of the mRNA molecule and uses it as a template to synthesize a protein. Transfer RNA, tRNA, molecules, each of which carries a specific amino acid, bind to the mRNA molecule. The ribosome then links the amino acids together to form a polypeptide chain, which eventually folds into a functional protein. The unique shape of a protein is determined by the sequence of amino acids in its chain, and this shape is critical to the protein's function. There are 4 levels of protein structure: primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. The primary structure of a protein refers to the sequence of amino acids in its chain. The secondary structure refers to the local folding of the protein chain into alpha helices or beta sheets. The tertiary structure refers to the overall 3D shape of the protein, which is determined by interactions between amino acid side chains. Finally, the quaternary structure refers to the arrangement of multiple protein subunits in a larger complex. The shape of a protein is critical to its function because it determines the specific interactions that it can make with other molecules. If a protein is subjected to high heat, acids/bases, heavy metals, or alcohols, its shape can be irreversibly altered. This process is known as denaturation. Proteins in the diet. Protein-rich foods include meat, fish, poultry, eggs, dairy products, beans, and nuts. Animal-based proteins are considered complete proteins because they contain all of the essential amino acids that the body needs. Plant-based proteins, on the other hand, may be incomplete because they may not contain all of the essential amino acids. However, vegetarians and vegans can still obtain all of the essential amino acids by eating a variety of plant-based proteins throughout the day. Complementary proteins are 2 protein sources that together supply all 9 essential amino acids. An example of this pairing is beans and rice. However, it's also important to note that excessive protein intake can be harmful to health, particularly if it comes from high-fat animal sources. Therefore, it's important to consume protein in moderation and to choose lean sources of protein whenever possible. One of the primary roles of proteins in the body is to serve as enzymes. Enzymes are proteins that catalyze, or speed up, chemical reactions in the body. Proteins are also involved in cell signaling and communication. Hormones such as insulin and growth hormone are proteins that regulate various physiological processes in the body. Antibodies, which are proteins produced by the immune system, help to defend against infections by recognizing and binding to foreign substances such as viruses and bacteria. Proteins are also important for maintaining fluid balance in the body. Proteins such as albumin help to regulate the movement of water and electrolytes between the blood and tissues and help to prevent fluid accumulation in the body's tissues. Finally, proteins are a major source of energy for the body. When carbohydrates and fats are not available, the body can break down proteins to produce energy. However, this is not an efficient process and can lead to the breakdown of muscle tissue, so it is not the body's preferred energy source. In certain situations, the body may need to break down proteins to obtain energy or to recycle amino acids. The breakdown of body proteins occurs through a process called proteolysis. Proteolysis is the breakdown of proteins into smaller peptides and amino acids. This process is necessary because the body cannot store amino acids for future use, unlike carbohydrates and fats. This is a tightly regulated process, and excessive proteolysis can have negative effects on health. The breakdown of proteins begins in the stomach, as there is very little enzyme digestion of protein in the mouth. Hydrochloric acid, HCl, denatures proteins by untangling the protein and breaking peptide bonds between amino acids. Hydrochloric acid also converts the inactive enzyme pepsinogen into its active form of pepsin. Pepsin further denatures proteins into single amino acids. These amino acids are then absorbed within the small intestine. Vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is the practice of abstaining from the consumption of meat, poultry, and seafood, and can be a healthy and environmentally conscious dietary choice. People who do not consume any animal products at all, including dairy foods and eggs, are vegans. There are several challenges that individuals who choose to follow a vegetarian/vegan diet may face. One of the primary challenges of vegetarianism is ensuring an adequate intake of protein. While there are plant-based sources of protein such as legumes, nuts, and soy products, it can be difficult for vegetarians to consume enough protein to meet their daily requirements without careful meal planning. Another challenge of vegetarianism is ensuring an adequate intake of certain micronutrients such as iron, vitamin B12, and omega-3 fatty acids. Vegetarians can still obtain these nutrients through plant-based sources or fortified foods, but it can be challenging to ensure adequate intake without careful planning and supplementation. Finally, there can be challenges related to maintaining a healthy and balanced vegetarian diet. It is possible to consume a vegetarian diet that is high in processed foods, refined carbohydrates, and saturated fats, which can be detrimental to health. It is important for vegetarians to focus on consuming a variety of nutrient-dense whole foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and nuts to ensure a healthy and balanced diet.